At its very core, Terraria is exactly what everybody calls it. It's 2D Minecraft. But surrounding that core, the mantle and the crust that surround the core could not be more different. Now, I am no stranger to this gem of a game. In fact, I min-maxed it. But it's been a long while since I did that, and I haven't played it since. So I decided to come back and see if it still had that same magic, because you can only really experience things like this once. It's hard to forget your first Minecraft world, or your first Fortnite game, or Fortnite victory. Let's see if I can re-experience that feeling, and hopefully make a video on it. And so my character was created, and I dubbed him Snotwad, for obvious reasons. And so the world began to form right before my very eyes. Now that's what I'm talking about. Looks like I still got it. In reality, I had no goal when making this video. I just thought I should see how far I could get in one session of playing Terraria. But in the end, I do make it quite far. The first thing you should do when creating a new Terraria world is go left and right as far as you can to see where the caves are and what surface loot you can get from the pots and chests. At nighttime, it's best to return home and build houses for future NPCs. You're going to need a lot of houses, so doing this now would be great. While it was still nighttime, I began construction of a very useful tool in a Terrarian's arsenal, and that is what most pros will call a Hellevator. A tunnel down to hell. It will become very useful for travel in the late game. When digging my Hellevator, I came across numerous caves which can be very useful for finding precious ores and good loot. I was simply minding my own business on the surface when BAM! The merchant. His arrival brought good fortune. As long as he was here, I could buy an infinite supply of torches, arrows, and could even get the anvil. And so I continued to dig, and I continued to build houses. As you progress throughout the game, many NPCs will spawn, some requiring special activities and items to do so, and some are more useful than others, but it was still very wise to collect them all. Fortunately, in my mining, I would find one of the best early game items in the entire game, almost period, the Hermes boots. These special boots allow the user to run at lightning speeds, which is great for exploration and evading monsters. My early game luck continued to rise as I soon reached the cavern levels, but not only that, I discovered an underground mushroom biome. One of the key things about Terraria is the way they use their items, because even the smallest trinkets and the most insignificant of places you discover will become very important later in the game. My mining session continued for some time, but I eventually returned to the surface with my wares. Once I had returned, two NPCs had made themselves at home. The Dye Trader and the Demolitionist. The Demo Man specifically will become very useful down the road when fighting bosses. I crafted a new set of armor with the wares I had collected for the mines and continued on my way throughout the world. Far to the west world, I discovered something huge. The jungle biome. For those of you who don't know, Terraria has a very special type of world generation. One side spawns the jungle biome, and the other spawns the snow biome. If the snow biome wasn't here, then it was certainly to the east. Which meant only one thing. I was forced to brave the corruption biome, if I wanted to make it to where I needed to be. The corruption is one of 2 biomes that can spawn randomly in your world, and they spread like wildfire. There are ways to slow the corruption's spread, but they're not easy, and they only delay the inevitable. I dug a hole next to the corruption biome in between the biome and my base, but I knew it would only be a temporary fix until I find a more permanent solution. Also, I died. So, first death. As I waited for morning to arrive so I could try again, I continued the building of houses. And accidentally dropped a stick of dynamite, blowing a hole in my own house in the process. I guess I have a basement now. Once the house was fixed, I departed into the corruption to hopefully reach the other side. Fortunately, I did. Not far past the corruption was the tundra, which meant the dungeon could not be far away. I lied, it was in fact very far away, on the complete other side of the frickin' map. This was an unfortunate setback, but one I would have to live with, so I used a recall potion to return home. With the location of the dungeon discovered, I continued my descent into the depths below. As I was down here, I uncovered a critical tool. The suspicious-looking eye. The first boss was now within my reach. While I was preparing for the first boss of the game, I began the construction of an apartment complex for the villagers. If you've watched anyone play this game, you've probably seen something similar created by multiple other YouTubers. That should do for now. And as nighttime fell, I summoned the first boss of the game. The fight was challenging, but not exactly difficult. I did start it a bit underprepared. But I am glad to say that I am still better than 50% of the people who have bought this game. That's right, only 50% of the people who have bought this game have even beaten the first boss. Play the games you have before buying new ones, you frickin' weirdos. With no sense of direction on where to go next, I descended into the underground desert to see what wares I could find while down there. I decided to stick to the normal caves for now. With a semi-successful mining trip behind me, I decided to set my eyes on another boss, Skeletron, the guardian of the dungeon. Well, that sucks. I decided instead I was going to kill the Eater of Worlds from the Corruption biome. But first, I would need a very special mount from another boss, which meant I had to kill the Slime King, which thankfully is the easiest boss in the game. So I summoned it, killed it, and got the slime. Yeah, I got the slime saddle. Good. That's what I was looking for. So with the slime mount and enough explosives to blow anything into Kingdom Come, I summoned the Eater of Worlds. Grenades are honestly just the easiest thing to defeat the Eater of Worlds with. I did not know this before. It's just so mindless. You just bounce and throw bombs. Sell the ore, yeah, sell it. Oh, that's a meteor in the background. Oh, wait a minute. I saw a meteor in the background. Ho 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 ho. I quickly departed in search of the meteorite and found it in the later half of the snow tundra biome. There you are, you. I'll take that. Unfortunately, the meteorite didn't do much for me. The most I could do was really sell it because the tools and armor I had were already better than anything I could make at the time. Well, I'd really hate to leave this video off on a slightly sour note, but that's about as far as I made it in my first session of Terraria. There's definitely a lot more I could do with this series if you want me to continue, so if you do, leave a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you want me to continue. I would very much be willing to make a series on this. But for now, let's see what the wheel wants us to play next. Oh, this is gonna be fun.